humanoid or generic. If you're not sure which one to use, check out our Mechanim Animation Basics article. Have the import define a new avatar to create a definition of your character to use with Mechanim. Next, import your animations. Animations from Mixamo should be downloaded as separate FBX files in FBX for Unity format and with the option skeleton only turned on. This will ensure that you're only importing the animation data, not duplicates of your mesh. Import each FBX file into Unity. To configure animations, select the imported animation FBX files in the project view. In the Rig tab of the inspector, change the rig type to the same type that you used for the character. Set the avatar definition to copy from other avatar and select the avatar from your T-pose import. No need to have the same definition of a skeleton for every import. Now you can configure each individual animation's properties. Select the animation and go to the Animation tab of the inspector. For most animations, you'll want to bake into pose for transform rotation, position Y, and position XZ. For looping animations, you'll also want to set them to loop here. These settings are going to depend exactly on what type of animation you're working with and the game you're designing. Use the Assets Create Animator controller or right-click the project window to create a new animator controller. The animator controller is where we will build our logic and state machines to control our characters. Mechanim is designed to work with both an animator controller and scripted. Next, we'll set up a prefab of our character to reuse in different levels. It's often easiest to create a prefab of your character so you can quickly add it into new scenes. Generally, it's recommended to place a character into a container object so that you can have other associated items, weapons, effects, and cameras all in one game object. Drag an instance of your camera from the project window into the scene. You'll notice that Unity has already assigned a component to the prefab called Animator. This is placed on by default for any humanoid or generic FBX imports. With your character in the scene selected, use the inspector to assign the animator controller you created to the controller field of the animator component. This tells the animator where to get its instructions from. Create a new empty game object create empty, and name it however you'd like to refer to your character's overall container object, such as player. In the hierarchy window, drag the character instance into the container object to make it a child of the container. Copy the animator component from the character and paste it onto the container game object, then remove the animator component from the character. This setup will allow us to use the animator to animate the character mesh and use root motion to move the entire container game object. Add the controller script to the container object. You can do this through Add Components, Scripts to find an existing script, or drag your script from the project window onto the inspector. If you want to create a basic follow cam, you can also drag the main camera from a new scene into the container prefab to make it a child. If you don't have a camera, you can create one via the menus by selecting Game Object, Create Other, Camera. On the container prefab, use the inspector to choose Add Components, Physics, Character Controller. The character controller is a way for us to add collision detection to our character, so they will come with some pre-made physics and will fall with gravity,